So I'm going to show you how to build an AI dashboard for every course you're taking this upcoming semester. And it's not going to be the same AI app that your professor or your university use. It's going to be your own. One that actually learns alongside you, and it knows which topics are confusing to you. It knows what you've already mastered, and it remembers the questions you've been asking yourself. And it catches the mistakes you keep making, sometimes before you do. And it knows the goals you're working toward. We'll build the whole thing together using a single prompt inside Claude Cowork. You paste it once, and by the end of this video, you'll have an AI tutor that's built around you and not just your course. Hi, my name's Nico. I'm a professor of political economy and public policy at UC San Diego. And on this channel, I help senior and master students become job ready in the AI era. This is the third video in a series where we build practical AI systems that get more valuable the longer you use them. In that last video, we built an AI calendar that helps you stay ahead of your semester instead of just tracking dates. And before that, we built the Claude setup that makes all of this possible. But don't worry if you're just joining, everything I show you today works as a standalone project. So here's the problem. More and more professors at whole universities are rolling out their own AI tutors for their classes. Some have partnerships with the big AI companies like OpenAI or Anthropic. In fact, some professors have gone further and built their own boutique AI, trained on the specific courses they're teaching. And honestly, I think that's a great thing. These tools really do understand the course. They know the syllabus, the lecture slides, the readings, the assignments, so they're great at explaining the course itself. But here's the thing, there's one thing that they don't understand. You. They don't know which lecture lost you halfway through. They don't remember the question you asked last week. They don't know you already spent 3 hours fighting with one concept, and they don't know your professor explained it differently in office hours. And they don't know what you're actually trying to get out of this class. Maybe you just want the A. Maybe you're prepping for grad school. Maybe you're hoping this class turns into a research assistantship. Maybe it's tied to the consulting job you want after graduation. See, that context matters because learning isn't only about understanding the course, it's about understanding where you are inside the course. So that's what we're going to build. Not just a dashboard, but an AI tutor that actually understands you and not just your course. So before we build it, let me show you the basic setup. Everything we build today lives in one folder I call Life HQ. And if you don't have that folder yet, don't worry, setting it up is dead simple. Just create a folder wherever you want it to live. That's the folder that's going to house everything we build. And it's where all of your courses will live as well, each one on its own folder inside it. That's really all you need to get started today. Now, if you want to understand why this one folder matters so much, why it becomes the backbone of everything, go back and watch video 1, which I link in the description below. But that's a suggestion, not a requirement. You can build today's dashboard right now with nothing but a folder and your syllabus. And Claude Cowork is going to connect directly to that folder. So instead of starting from a blank chat every time, it always sees the evolving context of your course. So one thing before we start, you have to use Claude Cowork for this. So not the browser tab, not the regular Claude chat, but Cowork, which is the version that can actually open your folders and work with the files inside them. Okay, down in the description, there's a file you'll need. Please go ahead and download it. Now, I open Claude Desktop, switch to Cowork, and point it at my course folder. For me, that's my Politics of Southeast Asia course, for the example for this video. Then I take that file from the description, paste the whole thing in, and hit send. And that's it, that's the build. Now watch what happens, because this part is different from the calendar that we built in the previous video. So it doesn't ask me 100 questions. The first thing it does is set up the folder for me inside Life HQ. It creates a clean structure inside my course folder, a place for my syllabus, lecture slides, readings, my notes, assignments, a place for exams and study material. And then before I've given it anything, it builds the dashboard. It's an empty shell and it opens on the right side of Cowork, but it's already got 3 tabs, the layout, everything. Now there's a little progress bar at the top that says 0% built and a friendly message that says add your syllabus to get started. That's the whole idea. Your dashboard exists on day 1. Then it fills itself in as you feed it. So I drop my syllabus into the syllabus folder and I tell Claude it's there and this is where it gets to work. It reads the syllabus, it pulls out the schedule, every lecture, every date, the readings, assignments, the exams, and how much they're worth, and the recurring stuff like a discussion post due the night before every class. Then it organizes all of that into a single structured table inside your folder. That table is going to be the source of truth. Everything you're about to see is drawn from it. And so here's the important part. It doesn't force your course into a template. It reads your syllabus and builds a table to fit your course. A lecture course with midterms looks one way. A seminar with weekly papers is going to look like another. A problem set course looks different again, but it's going to be the same prompt, even though it will build completely different dashboards because it's shaped around how your class actually works. Now, normally you'd build this up over the term. You'd add your slides after each lecture, dropping your notes, and watch it fill in week by week. But for this demo, I'm just going to use a shortcut. This is a course I actually teach, Politics of Southeast Asia, so I already have all of the materials, the lecture slides, my notes, the screenshots of the whiteboard, past exams, all of it. So what I'm going to do is to drop everything in at once and show you what this dashboard looks like fully built. That way you can see exactly where yours is headed as your semester goes on. And so there it is, my course dashboard fully built. And it saved itself with my course's name right there in Cowork. And so here's the thing, this isn't a one-time build. It's meant to evolve with you. In fact, it sets up a little weekly check-in for you automatically. It's called a scheduled task. It runs every Sunday evening or Monday morning, whenever you want it. Every time it runs, it rereads everything you've added that week, updates the dashboard, and gives you the lay of the land. What's coming this week, and a look back at the week that just ended. So the more you feed it, the more it keeps itself current on its own. Now, just like the calendar, you use this by talking to it. See the message box down here? Same box you'd use to chat with Claude, except now you're talking to your course. So let me show you. I type something like, I finally understand TFP, it's the efficiency part, not the inputs. Hit enter. So it updates what it knows about me and it redraws. The thing it had flagged as a weak spot, gone. So let me do another one. I say the midterm got pushed to the 9th. It moves the date, reworks my study plan around it, and re-renders. And it works the other way too. I can just ask, what's due this week? Am I ready for the next midterm? Which reading should I not skip? Every answer comes straight from the table in plain English. So no forms, no menus, just talking. Now let me walk you through what it actually built. So 3 tabs. Let's start with the one you'll open every Sunday night, the upcoming week tab. This one has a simple job. Get you ready to walk into your next 2 classes prepared. So for each upcoming class, it shows me the assigned reading, what's due and when, like my discussion post due the night before, and a short, plain English summary of what the reading is actually about. So how it connects to the bigger themes of the course. And then this, it drafts my pre-class work for me. So for this specific class, that's a discussion post question about the reading. For a problem set class, it would be the problem set answers, or guides to it at least. For a seminar, a response paper. It builds whatever your course actually requires. It even suggests 2 or 3 sharp questions I could raise in lecture or office hours. So by Sunday night, I've read, I understand why it matters, my post is drafted, and I've got something intelligent to say come lecture time. Now here's a detail that I love. It only ever shows me what's actually been released. It will not spoil next week's lecture to get ahead. It meets me exactly where I am in the semester. And one more thing, say my professor draws some messy diagram on the whiteboard, I snap a photo and drop it in my notes folder, and watch, it redraws the whole thing, clean labeled, readable, right onto the lecture's card. Now the second tab is the weekly debrief. This one looks backward at the week that just happened, and this is where it starts acting like a real tutor. First, it recaps what the week covered. Then it does something I really like. It reads my actual notes. So at the end of the week, I take my messy, half-typed lecture notes and drop them in. Watch what it does. It reads them clean, organized, detailed. So not a 2-line summary, the real substance. But here's the part that matters. It catches my mistakes. In one of my lectures, I'd written down that a concept meant one thing, flagged it in red and told me I had it backwards and what the right answer is. So my own notes corrected by something that actually read them. Then it asks me a couple of reflective questions. How did the midterm feel? Did the growth accounting stuff land? And when I answer right there in the chat, it folds that into what it knows about me. So answering these questions are actually important because then it understands me more and more. Below that is a section called What I'm Noticing. And notice how careful it is. It doesn't say you've mastered this. It says, I think you're comfortable here, or I suspect this still needs work. because it's not guessing. Every single thing it claims, it ties back to a source. Your notes, a specific lecture, the syllabus, and you can always see where it got the idea. This is a tab that quietly builds a picture of you over the whole semester. Now, the third tab is long-term success. This one looks past this week to the things that actually move your grade. Your midterms, your final, your papers. It tracks every one of them from today. For the next exam, it shows me a readiness read topic by topic. Where I'm solid, where I'm shaky, and it's honest about it. Same careful language based on what my notes and my answers actually show. Then it tells me the single highest leverage thing to do right now. Not a wall of tasks, the one move. So for me, for example, before a midterm, that's start your index card and lock down the concept you keep getting wrong. And it adapts to how your course is graded. If your class is short essays, it helps you practice the essay structure. If it's a research paper, it helps you develop the argument. If it's a problem set, it drills the method. Now, you might have noticed something across all three tabs. Each one opens with a short note at the top I call the coach's read. That's the dashboard thinking, not just displaying. It's the difference between a page that shows you information and a tutor that tells you in a sentence or two what to do next. So instead of you asking, what should I study today? The dashboard already knows because it understands both the course and where you are inside it. So one thing you need to understand, because this is where people get confused, the dashboard only knows three things. What's in your course folder, because you put it there, what's in your email, if you've connected it, so when a professor emails the exam moved, it catches it, and what you tell it right here in the chat. That last one matters more than you'd think. Every time you say something like, I'm aiming for grad school, or this concept finally clicked, or my professor explained it differently in office hours, it doesn't just reply, it writes that down into your course's table. So what that means is that it remembers. So here's a rule. If it matters, get it into the dashboard. And there are only two ways to do that. Drop the file in the right folder or just tell it right here in the chat. Either way, it lands in that one source of truth, so it's still there next week and the week after. And whenever you add new material, come back to the same task and say, here's this week's slides and my notes, update the dashboard. It rereads, finds what's changed, and redraws itself. You'll also notice that the progress bar is climbing. Early in the term, it might say 40% built and tell you exactly what's missing, but that's not a bug, that's the whole point. It's honest about how much it knows. It gets more complete every single week. Now here's the part almost nobody does, and it's the thing that turns this from a study tool into a coach. You have to tell it about you. Out of the box, it knows your syllabus. That's useful, but it doesn't know your goals. So tell it. Maybe this is the one class you absolutely want to ace. Maybe you're aiming for grad school. Maybe you're trying to land a research assistantship with this professor. Tell it how you learn too. If you procrastinate, tell it. If you cram the night before, tell it. If you always underestimate how long a paper takes, tell it. The more it knows about you, the better the coaching gets. Because now it isn't just looking at your course, it's looking at your course in the context of what you're actually trying to do. And you don't set any of this through menus, you just say it right here in the same conversation. And don't think of this as a finished product. Think of it as a starting point. You can keep customizing it just by talking to it. Let me give you 2 examples I actually used. First, practice questions in your professor's style. Drop your past exams and any sample questions into the exams and study folder. Then tell it, these are the kinds of questions my professor actually asks in class and on the old exams. Now write me a fresh set just like these. And because it's working from your professor's real questions, the practice actually looks like the test, not some generic quiz off the internet. Second, brainstorming a paper topic. Don't ask it cold. Give it something to work with first. The direction you're leaning, a case you find interesting, a debate from the course you want to dig into. Then ask it to turn that into a sharp, causal research question tied to the core themes of the class. So now you're not staring at a blank page, you are editing a real starting point. And you can keep going. Worked examples and derivations for a quantitative class. A vocabulary word of the day tied to your course. Whatever would actually help you. You can even change how it looks. You've probably noticed that the whole thing has a certain style. Warm background, clean lines, one accent color. I designed it to match my calendar so all my dashboards feel like one system. Calm, easy on the eyes, nothing shouting at you, because you're going to be looking at this every single week. But, it's your dashboard. If you want it to look different, you just say so on the chat. Now, remember the weekly check-in from earlier? You can shape that too. Tell it what you want in your Sunday briefing. Your top priority, what to prep, the one thing to start early for your next exam. So you don't need to wait for someone to build the feature you want. If you can't describe it, Claude can usually build it. Now, before you go build this, here's the one thing I want you to take away. This was never really about one course. It's about a different way of working with AI. We are building systems that stay, that learn alongside you and get more useful the longer you use them. If you saw the last video, you already have one of these. That was the calendar, the one that keeps you ahead of your whole semester. Now, this course dashboard is the second, and the pattern behind both is exactly the same. Take everything scattered across one part of your life, the files, the notes, the deadlines, the goals, put it into one place and let it learn from you and let it help you decide what to do next. Once you see this pattern, you can point it anywhere. A dashboard for your job search, for your research, for your finances. Same idea every time. So over the next few videos, that's exactly what we'll build together, one at a time. And if that sounds useful, please subscribe and I'll see you in the next video.